Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rosie and today I'm going to be showing you how I edit my GoPro photographs, especially a sunset one that I've taken the other day. I'm going to be screen recording my computer so I can show exactly what I do, exactly which settings I use and how to use Lightroom. If you are a complete beginner, this might not be for you. This is more for people who already know how to use Lightroom and kind of the settings to play with and things like that. So I'm going to jump into it right now, and here is the before and after. So the difference is actually quite vast. You can obviously see the before is very blue toned, the sun's very bright, it's kind of greeny as well. And then this one is a gorgeous, gorgeous sunset photograph, very pink and orange. So I'm going to show you exactly how I edited this photograph, all of the settings that I used, and how you can do the same with your photographs. So if we start from right at the beginning, I'm going to press reset. So that takes it right back to how it was beforehand. So this is unedited, this is just shot out the camera, and we're going to start there. So the first thing I always do is play with these first settings here. So exposure up and down, the contrast up and down, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks. These are the basic ones you have to start with. So for this one, I'm going to leave the exposure as it is for now, and I'm going to just increase the contrast by 20. I quite like doing this just because it makes the photograph a little bit more, well, contrasty and better in my opinion for this editing style. And then for these four, I'm just going to pull the highlights down, and that's it for now. I might come back and play with these later, but this is just what I'm going to do for the moment. So then down here, I'm going to increase the clarity by 20, and the vibrance I'm going to increase by 10. So this just makes everything a little bit, let me just show you what clarity does. So that's kind of fuzzy and that one's kind of crisp, and I think 100 is too much. I only like to edit things slightly. I say that, the colours I don't. Things like this I do. And the vibrance kind of makes everything brighter or grayscale. So I only go up to 10 on this one. The tone curve I'm not going to touch for this photograph, and I'm just going to go straight onto the HSL sliders. So this is hue, saturation and luminance. So with the hue, so the yellow, I'm going to make it a little bit more orange, and I'm going to go to 30. The green, I'm going to increase a little bit and take it a little bit more blue to 20. And the blue, I'm going to do plus 100. So I'm going to make all of those blue tones go purpley. So then I'm going to go to saturation and pull the green down to minus 40. The next one is sharpening. I always do this as one of my first steps as well. I'm going to go up to 70. I feel like that's a good enough number to make it sharp enough. Noise reduction, because this was shot at night time, I'm going to do the noise reduction up to about 30. This just smooths out any noise that you might have in the photograph. And then lens correction. So because this was shot on a GoPro, I have to do my own manual settings. If you press this button, usually that will work with, for example, with my Nikon camera. When I press enable profile corrections, that automatically sorts out the distortion. Whereas with the GoPro, I have to do it manually. So I choose GoPro here, and then it's the Hero and LCD. And then that's just left at that. And then here the distortion, this is what you can do yourself. So if you change it, you can see how that changes the distortion of the photograph, and the other way as well. So I'm going to change it to about 80. So it was at 100. I'm just going to change it to 80. There. So if you want to see the difference, you can just press this toggle here and that goes back and forth. So before, after, before, after. It just kind of gets rid of that fisheye lens a little bit. Makes the board look a little bit longer. I just prefer it overall. So now we're going to go into colour grading and changing the photograph a little bit more. So the temperature and tint I'm going to change slightly. I'm going to bump the temperature up to 20. And the tint I'm going to bump up to 40. Now that already made a huge difference there. If you go back and forth here, you can see the difference that has already made. But something that I have learned recently and something that I'm using a lot more in my photographs is split toning. So that is here. And what I did for this photograph is 12, 12, 12, 12. I'll just show you what that does. So if I put this at, for example, 30, so you can really see, this affects the highlights. And if you pull that along, it's going to change the colour of the photograph, depending on where you're at. And if we put that back to 0, we can do the same for shadows. If we put that up to 30, this will affect the shadows on the photograph. So what I tend to do is only bump it up a tiny bit. So I'm going to bump it up 12 and 12 down here. And then here all I did was found the right colour that I wanted. And I found that actually 12 was perfect. So it's kind of orangey, an orangey colour. And the split toning itself makes such a huge difference. I'm just going to show you before and after of the split toning. That was before, after, before, after, before, after. So that's a gorgeous way to get beautiful sunset colours for your photographs. So that is the basic setting for this sunset photograph. The next thing you can do is crop it for Instagram. You can crop it to 4:5, and you can also straighten it a little bit. So I'm just going to use the line along here as my horizon line. Make sure that's as straight as possible. I'm going to pull that down a little bit so you can see more of the board, and done. And that's the photograph. So that's the before and after. If you do want to see how different settings change the photograph, you can just press this little toggle and that turns it off and on again. So you can see there it changes the orangey colours a little bit. The split toning was huge. That's the main one, honestly. Detail doesn't do a whole lot. Some of them don't do a whole lot, but then I think everything added up together really does affect the photograph a lot. That one, for example, that makes a huge difference. It kind of pushes these things further away, which I like. So that was my very quick tutorial showing you how I edited this photograph using Lightroom. So I took this photograph on the GoPro Hero 8 and edited using Lightroom on my desktop. Just remember that if you use different equipment or if you photograph during different times of the day and there's different colours, these settings might not work necessarily for you the exact same way they've worked for me. You might have to edit things like the exposure and the split toning and the HSL slider. This is just what I've done for this photograph, but be sure just to have a play about and see what works for you. I will link my preset down in the description box if you would like to purchase it for yourself. Otherwise, you can just follow my instructions and it should work perfectly well. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, it really helps me out. And make sure you subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!